What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you today with more Danmachi. Now, today we're going to be talking about a little follow-up to the Grand War video I dropped earlier today, because one thing I forgot to discuss on this is equipment. Some of the equipment you need for this run, I didn't really discuss, and there's been some questions about it. So, I was initially going to take down the other video and upload a new version with the equipment added, but I think I'm just going to make a response because you guys have had some questions in regards to the run, so I'm going to go ahead and just do this also as a Q&A regarding that. But first things first, let's go ahead and look at the team. This is the team. This is not the team that I used for the actual run. This is the team that I suggested, but it's really 6 of one, half does the other. The only real difference here is Tiona. But you'll notice that on this team, I have the, let's go to change equip. I have the Glorious Taunt Anklet, and that is only level 60. I do not own a level 90 Taunt Anklet. It is just level 60. In fact, I don't even think it'd be worthwhile ascending the Taunt Anklet. I don't think you're going to get that much more. Like, the defensive boost you get out of it really isn't worthwhile. There's a little bit of resistance extra that you get in there, but there is what you would get. And if anybody's been following the streams, you guys know I'm always out of Alice. Like, I never have enough Alice to do the Awakenings anyway, so it'd be a moot point. But yeah, no, all my Taunt Anklets are level 60. I'll go ahead and show you here. Belle is also level 60. Bam. Haruhime, also level 60. And Artie, who arguably, if anybody would utilize an upgraded Taunt Anklet, it'd be her. But let's go ahead and just showcase her. The other two are using the swap anklets, as I discussed before. But, bam. These are the Taunt Anklets for these particular units. Now, that's legit what we've been utilizing. Now, there is, if you do not have the Taunt Anklets, a lot of people probably might not have them. I will say this makes it significantly easier. The other option is you could use, there's a 3-star assist that does anti-taunt. There are a couple of 4-star assists that do it. You would need to then at that point use an assist on your last slot that does it, and that is going to severely diminish your ability to produce SAs. But you've got to have anti-taunt. You cannot get taunted in this event whatsoever. The only exception would be is if you are solely single targets, but even then you're not going to be because you need some healing. So you've got to use Taunt Anklets. If you're not familiar with how these are crafted, basically they use the Record Buster items, but if you go into Blacksmith and you go to Crafting and you go to Armor, you're going to armor a Glorious Anklet here, and I'm just going to go ahead and craft, I'm not going to craft one, but as you craft it, it's going to give you a random, because I'm so low on Valis as you can see, it gives you a random, basically categorization here. So you can have like poison resist, stun resist, sleep resist. It was really best to go ahead and craft these as quickly as you can. But you will need the taunt resistance for this. And like I said, it is random, so you might have to craft quite a few of these to get the ones that you need. But you need that taunt resistance right there. Now, once again, if you don't have that, there are assists that do taunt resistance. You'd have to look those up. I don't recollect which ones they are off the top of my head. There is a 3-star one, however, that said. I could pull that one up here in a second. But the 3-star assist could, in fact, be utilized. Now, the downside is because you got... So remember, when your assist comes into play, that's when it's effective. So if you want to use the taunt assist, you really got to put that assist on the final slot. So when it comes to that, pretty much the unit that you have in that last slot better be pretty darn good. So if it's a 3-star, it's going to drag down the stats of your final unit. So the 3-star taunt resist is actually the 3-star Ganesha. Let's go ahead and pull him up here. Boom, assists. And yes, I did have to look that up because I don't recollect. This one right here. Forgot there were 2 3-star Ganeshas. But at fully max limit break, he does all allies taunt resist 100%. What are his stats? Stats at full max limit break are not quite 1,000 HP, but physical attack, magic attack, everything else is kind of crappy. But HP would actually be pretty good, so it wouldn't be the worst thing ever to utilize this Ganesha at the end of your team, but you'd have to have a pretty strong unit. So getting to the responses that I got on the video, the first response I received, well, the first response that I'm going to talk about here was this one right here. Show the equipment, man! Your units are probably using level 90 anklets. And like I said, I don't even own. I'll go over here to prove that I didn't just change all this. The few level 90 anklets that I own are other ailments. I never upgraded the taunt anklets because, frankly, there's just no point. So, equipment list, let's go to armor, and let's go filter this down by ornament. Pardon me. So here's the level 90 anklet, and that is poison, seal, stun, so on and so forth. Seal, poison. Let's get down to taunt. So here's my first taunt, and that is level 60. I am not using Ascended Anklets. In fact, the effect you would get out of the Ascension, I really don't feel like would be worthwhile in this. If you're not familiar, when you fully ascend it, counterattack rate goes up 10%. Critical rate when attacked goes down to, or sorry, counterattack when attacked goes down 10%. Critical rate goes down 10%, and penetration rate goes down 10%. So actually, if you did limit break these, that would be super useful. That would be extra super useful. I did not. You could do it without, and oftentimes when I do these runs, I deliberately don't utilize ascended weapons for this very reason. But yeah, that would be super effective. If you did that, that would help out your run a whole lot. But like I said, you want to use somebody that actually reduces that, and obviously debuffs critical and penetration. And you want to use that on the assist side as well. So those crits and pens will kill you, will absolutely murder you. So that was the first response I saw on here. They are not level 60. I have no reason to lie about this whatsoever. They are level, or they're not level 90. They're level 60. No reason whatsoever to like try to pull the wool over your eyes or whatever, guys. The whole goal here is for me to produce content that you guys could then replicate. That's why I spent literally the better part of a half hour explaining the team and explaining different people you could throw onto the team. So we're not level 90, we are level 60. Though level 90 would actually be beneficial because of those stats. And I kind of wish I had, but at the same rate, then it really wouldn't be a fair run because a lot of people probably don't have those elements. And even if you do, that's a lot of Val. Look how little Valis I've got. I never have enough Valis. So, yeah, level 60 anklets. That's all I used, guys. Level 60 anklets. The next comment that I received here. Winter Haruhime for the last slot over RD. Says see the last skill and you'll see why. So I see what he's referring to. So what this person is referring to over RD for the last slot. Let's go to the album and let's pull up Winter Haru. We'll just go ahead and cheese it here by going down here. So if you're not familiar with Winter Haru, if you didn't max limit break her while she's run, first of all, I wouldn't want her on the last slot on my team because mine is only +1. Mine is not max limit broken. So first of all, that would be a bad fit for my team. I could put her further in the team and then use the other Haruhime later, but then I'd have to do other stuff to replicate the buffs, and it wouldn't be preferable for my purposes. But here's the interesting thing about Winter Haruhime. So if we go up here, she does still do the physical and magic resistance buff. So that's very good. You want that periodically. And the really nice part about that over the RD assist is that Winter Haruhime will restore her own MP with skill 2. So she's got a big MP heal here with skill 2. So she could basically just do this all day and all night and come restore MP. Whereas with RD, it's a very expensive thing to do. Like, I think it's, what is it, 141 MP or something like that? Maybe even 240 MP. It's a very expensive skill. And this is very cheap, like 34 MP, and then you just come down here and you restore MP. It's like, whatever, you can do that all day and all night. Plus, if you're running a water team, like I said, water is one of the possible things you could run here. She'd be a good buffer for that team as well. Now, here's where I see what this person was saying. It says, look at Winter Haru's skills and you'll see why. This right here is what he's referring to. 30% HP heal with an ally status debuffs and foe status buff -2 turns. But as you saw with the Bell, literally Bell is the same skill on the debuff removal side. Like, so he'll remove debuffs up to 2 turns. And actually, funny enough, the Winnie that we got earlier in the just before him does this skill right here, status buff -2 turns. So basically, this is like both those skills all in one. And what in theory would happen is you could remove the light buffs and all of that kind of stuff that they drop on themselves, as well as at the same time removing the debuffs that they put on you. But as you noticed with Bell, as soon as you basically remove that, they're going to buff it all over again anyway. And if you have this unit maximum broken, if she's in the last slot, she better be maximum broken. And if she's maximum broken, she's going to be way too fast. Basically, as soon as she removes those are going to be put right back on the team. So, as with Bell, we stopped using that about halfway through the fight just because it's not viable. On paper, it looks like a good tactic, but the tactic just doesn't work out. Now, the nice thing about what Artie does here, like while we could buff this a lot more often and restore our MP, she's a great unit to throw on there, but the main thing Artie does that Haruhime doesn't do is she does a death saving throw, which saved Aisha's butt that one time. Was it turn like 14 or 15, where Aisha almost got murdered? Haruhime doesn't do that. Now, if you are using Haruhime with like Kotori, sure, great tactic. The only other thing that isn't done here is the debuffing the critical and penetration rate. Now, to be fair, you could throw another assist on turn 1, turn 2, and do the same thing. That is a tactic. But for me, what Artie did with having the heal, with having the buff, with having the debuff, with having the death saving throw, with having everything, Artie for my team was a better fit. You could definitely use Winter Haruhime, but I think Winter Haruhime actually isn't as good as Artie because of how much Artie does, especially for this fight. And like I said, this skill, while enticing on paper, wouldn't actually work out, unfortunately. It just wouldn't be viable for these runs. So you are right. She is an option, but for my run, for the way I did it, I wouldn't have wanted to use her anyway. She just definitely would not be a fit for my team. So let's talk about the next one here. Okay. Says, Bunny Hestia is an HP regen, not MP. Absolutely correct. So initially, and let me go back to my team here. Initially on this team, if you guys were at the stream last night, I actually had, instead of Ida here, I had Estrella on the team. Because I was working on an HP regen build where instead of debuffing crit and penetration, I was focusing so much on healing, I actually had HP regen on the team. That's why kind of Bunny Hestia was in the back of my mind. HP regen is a good option, and she still is quite viable for that. But you were absolutely right. I did kind of goof on that one. Bunny Hestia, let's go talk about her real quick. Go back to the album, go to the assist. I mentioned her when I was talking about MP in the video, and that unfortunately was not correct. The Bunny Hestia units are HP regen, though that's still a great idea. If you can afford HP regen on your team, that will help you survivability-wise, because remember, at the end of every turn, she adds 18% regen back in. Now, no, this doesn't stack, and you wouldn't want it to anyway. You've got too many other things you want to do on the assist side. And frankly, we have other units that do better heals. Case in point, the Estrella unit that I was using. That would be coupled with other effects. So you wouldn't want to use Bunny Hestia anyway unless you're in a pinch. But it is an option out there. But that, once again, this person is absolutely correct. It is HP regen, not MP regen. That was a goof on my part. Now, there is a Hestia 3-star. Let me see if I can pull her up here. That does MP regen, and I believe it's this one, I think? Nope, that's Dex 15. Is it? Which one is it? I don't think it's this one. Strength 25. It's got to be this one then. Here we go. So, this Hestia does 5 MP per turn. There's better MP regens on here. In fact, if you look at the team that I was building, the Haruhime assist does, I believe, 15 MP regen, I think. Where'd she go? Where'd she go? Where'd she go? Oh, goodness gracious, did I lose her? There she is. Right under my finger. So, she actually does 15 MP regen. I messed up the goal of what I wanted to talk about there, but yes, you've got to have MP regen on here, but HP regen is another good option, but you're correct. I did mess that one up. So apologies. Just look for a unit that has MP regen, and there's a few of them out there, and you definitely do want those on your team, though, so don't make that mistake. That said, you could still use Bunny Hestia for the HP regen. I couldn't fit it in my team, but if you can, great. You could even take Finn off. If you're having a really rough time, you could take Finn off the end here. Just understand you're not going to get your faster SAs. That is a thing. It's going to take you a little bit longer to get the fight going, but it's really about how you're going to address this. So that is one thing. But yes, apologies for messing that one up. Finally, I've got one other comment here. Doing what you like is freedom. Liking what you do is happiness. I love the channel. I love bringing you guys this content. Appreciate it, Random Bot. That is going to be the video, guys. Let me know if you have any other questions in the comment section down below. I would love to entertain them. I might even make another video like this in the morning if you guys come up with more questions. But yes, got to use those taunt anklets, and you do not have to have them ascended. You do need MP regen, and if you can afford Bunny Hestia for the HP regen, great. But let me know if you have anything else, guys. Like, comment, share. Sorry for the confusion on this one, and sorry I didn't include the equipment list in the original posting. I was just so excited to finally have it done. There's so much to talk about. It just slipped my mind, and I know it's super important. So I'll add this in there, and hopefully this answers all those questions. Otherwise, let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys shortly.